Sir, one more question. That there are cases where they reported that they could not pay the full salary, so they are paying a part of the salary, and the rest of the part of the money they wanted to convert into the equity. This is something that a startup has actually was thinking, and then employees also are agreement that since they cannot actually do the cash flow after some time, this cash flow will convert into an equity of the organization, which is a very good sign. But is it okay from the law? Again, even though both of them agreed, but is it okay to do it? And is it a good? I mean, like from a practice side of it, at least we see from a management, it is very good, because you're also having the involvement of people as a shareholders, more than anything else. But how does the law looks at? Because this is what I want to convey to some of them who actually have done it, or maybe who have in the process of doing it.
This implies participation in management.
Yeah, exactly. The ownership. I mean, instead of a salary, they're getting an ownership. That's how it is construed.
Yeah, ownership. It is okay, but the thing is that first the employee has legally to make it perfect legal. The employer has to first make the payment, and the employer has to again purchase the stocks or the shares.
Okay.
And the cash transactions to the bank has to take place. So that is a perfect. No need to have any agreement separate.
Okay, sir. One more question related to that is that there are a lot of incentives and special allowances, incentive. There are so many things that are being given by the employers, and due to this whole issue, they're not able to pay anyway the salary and also the running of the thing. But if they take care of salaries, and what will be the provision for those incentives, or whatever the okay, bonus, I'll keep it separately. There's a separate question. But from an incentive point of view, sales incentive, or annual incentives or something, if they actually have to stop, or if they don't give it, what is the kind of an implication that they have, because the business is not running?
It is of twofold. The first one is that incentive for the future payments, because the results is yet to be achieved and the incentive is yet to be. Incentive because for the results which are already achieved.
Okay.
March, almost 22nd March, the companies are functioning as usual.
Yeah.
So whatever the targets that were there in the previous financial year, they have achieved. But the achieved thing, it is actually accrued to their account, rather to say, by virtue of performance. The incentive what they got to get it, they are entitled for it. So that cannot be deferred. That cannot be denied first. If it can be deferred, it can be deferred with a mutual understanding. Because it is for the service what he has done, the incentive is there.
Already rendered. Already
rendered. For the future, they can enter into an agreement that they can dispense with these incentives, only salary part will be taken care of. They have to enter into employee consent is required for that.
So one more thing, we have noticed that there are a lot of companies who already said there are no more increments in the future. Okay, does it is it management side it's right, or is it legally does it has any impact, or that employers must be aware of, if if they declare today that no more increments for this year, because we see there is going to be a danger for the business as such?
There are ways and means to arrive at a win-win mode of theory. Rather to say that one thing is that the incentive or the increment is a reward for performance.
Okay.
It cannot be claimed as a matter of right. It is always subject to performance of employee, also paying capacity of the employer.
Okay.
Paying capacity of the employer. Okay. So future increments, whether to give or not to give, or whether the employees get demotivated or demoralized by not giving, like the company got constraints the employee. So how to keep up the moral of the employees? The HR has to come forward with that. And there are certain companies, because instead of, okay, we will discuss it a later part, how to deal with the surplus employment. We will discuss it. I have certain views of mine in a win-win situation, how to deal with such things.
Sure, sir. I'll come to that.
Yeah, incentives and increments can be, future increments and incentives can be deferred, or can be said that for this particular year, there will not be any increments. Because we are not committed that every year you will be giving it.
Okay, okay, sir. And one more thing, how do you treat the contract workers, sir, at this time? Because there are manufacturing companies who have contract workers also, on a third party or whatever. So how's the treatment in terms of, because now they can't really pay because there's no operations or whatever. So what is the obligation of employer in terms of contract workers that they have? Can they terminate them, the contract, or what kind of implications that you see?
Yep. The thing is that as regards the payment of wages for the month of March, it is clear as per the government directions, contract labor to be paid during the lockdown period. And the contractor will pay only when the principal employer makes the payment, otherwise he will not be. Under the provisions of the Contract Labor Act, principal employer is jointly and severally liable only for the payment of wages. That is one aspect.
Okay.
As regards to April, the clarity is yet to come. Let us see. And the other thing is that retrenching the contract labor or terminating the contract labor. The principal employer cannot terminate the contract labor because there is no employer and workman relationship between the principal
Sure.
employer and the contractor. It is
Sure.
between the contractor and the contract worker.
That's right. That's right. And so, what is the provision of a contractor? Because now he has a direct employees on his roles, and then he needs to, because if the principal employer is not paying, then he may not, he may be in an incapacitance to pay. So in such cases, can he, again, all these employment rules apply that we are discussing to him in terms of deferment and all that?
When it comes to the manpower supplying companies, wherever they are vendors or whatever, whoever they may be, when the principal employer stops the business, terminates the contract owing to the business circumstances, and what to do with his employees for whom he has recruited his employees to supply that
Only
labor
for
to
them.
a third party. When the contract, so their services can be retrenched post lockdown, not during the lockdown period.
Okay.
Post
Okay.
lockdown, but
So
as
I
per
think what you're saying is everything is locked now. So
everything is locked and that is few days away. And post lockdown, the services can be retrenched. But there is a procedure under the Contract Labor Act for retrenchment.
Okay, sir. And also, you also said earlier that on the Payment of Wages Act, there's a minimum wage structures, right? So they need to make sure that to that extent that the payment must be made, right?
Yes, it can't be reduced less than the minimum wage. The employer who can't afford to pay the minimum wage can't afford to be in the business. That is what the Supreme Court said. In unequivocal terms.
Yeah, but maybe I think all these situations nobody would have imagined, because we know that there is a gray area, of survival, becoming, and the country's survival itself is at question. So employers are very small portion.
So if the companies, industries do well, there will be a good GPA. If the GPA, as the government in general, would be doing well. If there is no proper